Let's go for it!
Hey everybody, welcome to The Dark Stuff. It's me, your buddy Dave here, back with a new video. This video is a review of the Esmé Patterson show that I saw just a couple days ago. It was really great, and I decided to give it its own standalone video as a review instead of lumping it in with a bunch of other live reviews like I usually do, or mixed in with a bunch of records that I just got or something like that. So this is a standalone Esmé Patterson video. If you're not familiar with her, I think you're going to want to be by the end of this video. I mean, I'm just giving you a heads up. This is an artist that I'm strongly recommending. I don't know if you've been watching my videos for a bit, but one I did last September, number 122, I had a kind of a passing reference to Esmé Patterson when I was doing kind of a run through of some new records that I'd been digging recently that I'd gotten for the radio show. And I showed it real quickly. It's this one right here. We Were Wild came out last year on the Grand Jury label, and it was great. At that point, I was just starting to sort of absorb the album. I didn't know every song. I'd been playing Feel Right on my radio show, and I had just figured out that the song No River was actually the single, and so I was starting to play that. And then also, you know what, I didn't even notice till someone else showed me, but if you put it together, that's like her pulling her own leash on there. Anyways, okay, side note. So I ended up liking the record a lot, played it a couple more times. I don't think I referenced her in any other videos. It made my top 50 of 2016, and I think it was up in the high 20s, early 30s or something like that. I think if I were redoing that list, you know, you had the benefit of hindsight, I think it would be a couple places higher, maybe a lot places higher. I mean, frankly, that it's below the record by Your Friend, and that Your Friend record is great, but I play Esmé Patterson a lot more. So, you know, there's no specific system to how I come up with the top 10. Anyways, Esmé was playing the other night at the Waiting Room. She was the opening act for a band called Lucero. I knew she was going on early at 8 o'clock. I got there a few minutes before 8, got right up to the front, and I just was blown away. She did about a 45-minute set. It was amazing. First of all, she comes on, and she doesn't look like this anymore from the album cover from last year. She was wearing like this blue wig and this kind of like bluish white kimono, I guess, for lack of a better word. I don't know if it was really a kimono or if that's not the right term. In Japan, it probably would be, but here in the States, I'm not really sure what you would call it. And she comes out and starts playing, cuts off the new record and says she has newer stuff than that. And then she started talking about a record that she did in 2015. Now, keep in mind, We Were Wild was my first exposure to her, and I didn't get a chance to go back and check out any of her other records. She referenced an album she did called Woman to Woman, where she took a bunch of classic songs that were written, about a woman, where she felt they were sort of one-dimensional characters in the song, and then she rewrote a response song from that person. Okay? Interesting concept. The song she used, where I had to actually print it out so I'd remember, but it was okay. So she took on Elvis Costello's Allison, Dolly Parton's Jolene, Townes Van Zant's Loretta, the Beach Boys' Caroline No, Evangeline by the band, Eleanor Rigby by the Beatles, and Goodnight Irene by Leadbelly, and then she wrote sort of response songs from the perspective of that character. And she played a couple of them. I know she played this Dolly Parton one, which is called Never Chase a Man, which was great. She was seemingly getting really into it. The crowd response was positive. So at one point she's rocking out, she breaks a string on the guitar and says, I don't know what's going on. I never break a string on the guitar. I don't, this is a rarity. I'm going to go to my backup guitar. Picks up her other guitar, starts playing that. 2 more songs in, breaks another string on that guitar. And she didn't have a third guitar, and there's no roadie to come over and restring the guitar, so that was it for her playing guitar. So for the last song, which oddly enough was the song Feel Right, which was like a real rocker from the album, she's just, just singing, like wailing around and dancing and doing all this kind of stuff, but no guitar because she busted up both strings on both guitars. Then, at the very, very end, she took off the wig, the blue wig that she was wearing, and you see that she has really, really short hair now. So after the show, I went back to the merch and I decided to buy a record or two from Ms. Patterson. So I picked up her album Woman to Woman, which is the one that we were discussing with all those responses. Okay. And I also picked up a split 7-inch she did with William Elliott Whitmore, where they each do one another's songs on that one. That was on Bloodshot. I really did kind of want to meet Esmé after the show because I was just so into it. So I sort of stood around by the merch booth. I asked her merch person, I said, hey, does she come back and talk to people? And she said, oh yeah, she'll be back. I waited about 15, 20 minutes or so. I was chatting up with the bass player for a while. He was a nice guy. He plays a regular right-handed bass, just flips it over, but doesn't restring it. Okay, so the low string is the bottom string, the higher string is the top string, which is very, very weird to me. If you're a bass player, you probably think that's totally weird. He just said that's the way he learned it. It's not unusual. And I thought, isn't that the way Jimi Hendrix did guitar? Didn't he do a right-handed guitar and just... No, he actually restrung it so that the low string was on the top and the high strings... So anyways, we chatted about that for a bit, but after about 20 minutes, it was a Thursday night and I had to work the next morning, so... I went into the back of the club, into the back office, and I found the guy who was running the show, and I asked him, hey, would you take care of getting the record signed for me from Esmé? And he said, yeah, no problem. Anyways, I would say get this record, Esmé Patterson, We Were Wild. See if you can find this. They told me this was limited to 500 copies on vinyl. It's a UK release, so you may have to find this one on CD, but it's worth it. And I haven't had a chance to listen to this one yet, but I imagine it's quite good. 2 other albums I'm going to try and get on mail order or something at some point in the future, or order them on Amazon or some shit. Anyways, close out with some more clips from the show. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Take care.